Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.
Hello and welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast with me, George Swift. The Leveling Up Podcast is here to give you the personal development, the entrepreneurial development and the business growth that you, the ambitious business owner, desires. I'm here to give you the inspiration, the motivation, but above all else to challenge your aspirations to take you and your business to the next level. Today, I want to talk to you about keeping the flame alive. I've done a lot of episodes around goal setting, a lot of episodes around setting up 2020 to be the best year you've ever had in business and in life. This week, we looked at vision boarding on Monday and tried to debunk some of the mumbo jumbo. And by calling it weirdos and mumbo jumbo, I guess it's a little bit offensive. I apologize if I offended anybody. Anyway, we looked at the vision board and we looked at how that can keep your flame alive. I didn't use that language, however, I'm using it today because that's the theme of this podcast. In other words, how do you stay massively inspired and motivated throughout the long term? We're looking at goals over 2020. So how do you keep showing up over 2020 every single day, every single week, every single month and quarter, and ultimately to the end of this year, so that when you come back in January, you look back over your 2020 and go, damn, that was impressive. Damn, that was an amazing year. If you set your goals up right, you should be massively inspired, massively motivated. However, as I discussed on Monday, realistically, that motivation will wane. If you haven't set your goals up right, or you're not sure you've set your goals up right, or you haven't even set any goals for 2020, I created a free resource back in November, December time to give you completely free of charge. I will put the link below in the descriptions of this episode. It's a workbook. It's basically the process that every single member of my success groups and my Extreme Growth Masterminds follows. It takes them 20 hours to complete. I distilled that process the best I could. You'll be thankful for me that I've condensed it down into a booklet for you to follow through so that you can set yourself a whole bunch of kick-ass goals for 2020. Now, if you have set goals, if you are massively inspired by your 2020, the truth of the matter is it will probably wane. It's like a fire inside you. It's a flame that's burning bright inside you. However, like all flames, unless you fan them, unless you fuel them and feed them, then they will ultimately burn themselves out. Motivation was never meant to last weeks and months and years. Motivation was a primitive driver in us, in our evolutionary past. It was designed to give us the energy to unlock our resources, our time, our energy, to put ourselves potentially even at risk if needed be, to go out and create a result, to go out and get something. In our evolutionary past, it was to go out and get food, go out and get shelter, to go out and get a mate. Does this make sense? So we were motivated, highly motivated to do these things for survival. Today, in our life today, we need motivation to last us much, much longer. It's not enough to say, I've done enough today to get by today. In our evolutionary past, our ancestral lives, we could have just done that. We live day by day. Most of the animal kingdom still lives day by day, day by day. Let's get to the end of the day. Let's live long enough to get. Why? Because most of them don't even make it to the end of the day. And most of us wouldn't have made it to the end of the day in our evolutionary past. So thinking about 6 months, 6 years, or decades in the future was a pointless, fruitless activity because most of us didn't live that long. Today, we are lucky. We live in a very safe place. For most of us, we have security, we have health, we have time on our sides. And therefore, we want to be thinking years, if not even decades into the future. But if we want to be delivering really big results over those timescales, we need to be highly motivated. But as I've already said, motivation wanes. So how do you keep your flame alive? Well, number one, I'm telling you now, if you didn't listen to it, you want to go and listen to the vision board episode on Monday. That's episode 91. Go and listen to that because I really sell you on the concept of how a vision board can keep you highly inspired and highly motivated towards your goals. Secondly, you want to just make sure that you have strong reasons for achieving your goals. Big, strong whys. Why am I here? Why am I putting myself through this? Why would I do all of this activity? Why would I make this sacrifice? You need to know that you've got answers for all of those things. You need to really connect with those answers that you have to those things, because if you don't have a strong enough why inside of yourself, there's not enough of a payoff to your unconscious, for your unconscious to fully commit you to your goals and your outcomes. I want you to imagine you've only got a certain amount of time. You've only got a certain amount of energy. I call these core resources. In the modern world, we have money as well. So we only have a certain amount of these three core resources: time, money, and energy. And if we want to achieve huge things, we need to commit high levels of these resources to our endeavors. But our unconscious is the gate. It's the gate that either allows this energy to flow or whether it holds it back. And depending on where your mind goes, depending on where your focus goes, depending on the connection that your unconscious has with the activities, with the tasks and the actions, with the goals that you're trying to achieve, dependent on its relationship with those, it will depend on what it allows us to commit. Does this make sense? Most of who we are as beings is unconscious. 95 to 99% of everything we think, feel, and do happens unconsciously. That also includes our motivation, our drive, our focus. It also includes our behaviors, our interactions with the world around us, with people. It determines what we do and what we don't do. Does this make sense? So we want to be doing the stuff that we need to do consistently to a high level to give us these amazing results. And we need to do it consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and potentially even decade after decade. So we need to make sure that our unconscious has the right connections with our goals. And one of those fundamental connections is that why, the purpose behind the goal, because the purpose is the reasoning. It's the reason for achieving the goal, the reason for undertaking the task. And if the unconscious deems that the amount of energy and effort that we're putting into something is not going to be rewarded back to us, then the unconscious will pull that energy out. Why? Because for millions and millions of years, that's how we survived. If we were engaged in fruitless activities, the unconscious would manipulate us away from those activities to try and push us to actions and behaviors that would give us the rewards that we wanted. Back then, survival. It was all about survival. Today, the unconscious is working on exactly the same mechanisms. So we need to get into those mechanisms, and we need to make sure that our unconscious is fully committed to our purpose, is fully committed to our goals, is fully committed to the vision that we hold of ourselves and for our businesses and for our lives. If there's any disconnect from the unconscious to what it is that we're going for, expect your unconscious to put the brakes on. It might just slow you down. It might detract you from what you're doing, or it may hold you back completely, or even send you in completely the opposite direction. So be really mindful of how you feel. When you wake up every day, do you feel inspired? Do you feel motivated? Do you feel driven to achieve what it is that you're working towards? If you consistently have gaps in that motivation and drive, then you need to look into your unconscious, and you need to start looking at the connections that your unconscious has with those goals. It's what I call goal alignment. You want to align your unconscious self with your consciously set goals. You want to make sure that both you and your unconscious, yes, I'm talking about you as if you're two separate entities. Guess what? There's a lot more than two going on inside there as well. So this schizophrenic nature of who we are as human beings, the conscious and the unconscious, the conscious that knows what's best for us, and the unconscious that's driving what it thinks is best for us based on archaic mechanisms going back through our evolutionary past. So make sure you're unconsciously aligned. The vision board that I shared on Monday, go and do that if you haven't done it yet, because that's a big part of aligning our unconscious with our consciously set goals. But equally, make sure if someone says to you, why would you do that? Why are you putting yourself through that? Why? Any why question that anyone could throw at you, you need to make sure that you have answers to those questions and that you really connect with those powerfully within you. Because if you can't answer those questions, your unconscious is asking those questions and it's answering them itself. And if it doesn't come up with enough reward for the energy and the effort over the timescales that you're looking at putting that energy and effort in, if it doesn't get enough reward out, or it doesn't perceive it's getting enough reward out, or doesn't perceive it will get enough reward out, it will hold you back. It's what it's meant to do. It's what kept you alive, or us alive as a species, for millions of years. However, it now holds us back from all we could be. It holds us back from achieving all we could achieve. Get yourself aligned, get yourself focused, keep those flames alive. Surround yourself with people that breathe life into your life, that breathe life into that fire, people that support you on that journey, people who back you on that journey, people who reward you for what you're doing, reward you for the sacrifices that you're making, that make you feel good about who you are and what you're doing. That's going to help keep that flame alive as well. It's one of the reasons we exist as a club. BBB Success Groups is all about creating a community of like-minded, ambitious business owners that all breathe life into each other's goals. They support each other. They hold each other accountable. They call and demand the best out of each other. And ultimately, we are all on this journey together. It's why I say we're on our own individual journeys in a team environment. Get yourself in a team environment that supports you doing and being what you need to do and who you need to be in order to consistently do and achieve what it is that ultimately you want to achieve. Have an awesome weekend. I will catch you on Monday. We'll do it all over again. If you find yourself at a loose end at any point this weekend, don't forget the 6-figure fast track is waiting for you. It's a webinar, it's a masterclass designed specifically for the 5-figure service-based business who hasn't yet hit 100K in revenue, and they want to hit 100K in the next 12 months or less. If that is you, get yourself on the 6-figure fast track. You'll find it at biggerbrighterbolder.co.uk/fast track. I'll drop the link in the descriptions below. I'll see you on Monday. Have an awesome one. Until then, as always, be successful.
Leveling up. Extreme business growth through raising your game. When what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary, you know you've leveled up.